Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With Allah's signature, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we thank all of you for being here on this Friday, August the 6th, 2021, for this Friday lecture. And we do these lectures every Friday for the benefit of those who are not able to make it to their Friday Jumu'ah services for whatever reason. We're talking about the elderly or the sick and shut in, those who are hospitalized, and those who, for whatever reason, cannot physically make it to a physical establishment for the services. We at least are providing information that is Quranic based so that you can stay within the mainstream of Islamic information and be able to also receive news that you can use on the Quranic sides of things. So thank you for being with us. We're going to be approaching a subject today that I have entitled Human Worth. So let us begin with this question. What is human? Most people you ask will not know the technical answer to that question. Try asking that question at work, at the masjid, or at the church, or at the synagogue, or at the temple, etc. You'll probably be met with the sound, Man means mind. Human means humus, mind. And the word humus means fertile or productive. I refer to it as a mind that registers hum or hum, and hum means frequency. It also represents a mind which registers humidity or humidity, and humidity is moisture. So what is moisture in relation to the mind? Moisture is water, and water is symbolic of cleanliness, transparency, and purity. The Quran calls this kind of people the people of pure intellect. Ulul albab, it's called in the Arabic phraseology. And this phrase refers specifically to those who have maintained or achieved the original state of the intellect as it was when we were babies. Ulul albab. You can hear in the word al-bab a connection to the English word baby. Bab, baby. Although technically speaking, that phrase is not from the same phrase that we get the word baby. It's actually from the word al-lub. And al-lub means the heart, but not just the heart. The heart in Arabic is al-qalb. Al-lub is actually the heart in its connection with the brain. The sound of the blood flow between the two, heart and brain, that sound under the microscope or under, not the microscope, pardon me, but under the sound instrument is lub, lub, lub. And that is where the Arabic word comes from, according to the Arabic grammarians. What determines the level of purity in this human intellect? It is the conscious attention that you pay to your intention. Allah has created the human to have conscious control over his and her intention. Allah has control over all outcomes. However, he has given us control over our intentions, and our intentions are going to result in our outcomes. But we first have to have an income. So the income for every thinking human being should be the registration of pure intentions. Our intentions form the basis of our original frequency, and it is that frequency which Allah registers and rewards or punishes based on our responses to those intentions. When those intentions are able to produce right actions, then Allah rewards us for our right actions. When those underlying intentions are registering at a frequency that causes us to make bad decisions and to cause bad outcomes, then Allah punishes those bad outcomes. Human beings are frequency modulators. And by modulator, we simply mean regulator. God has created us that way. He's created each and every one of us as human beings to be frequency regulators. And as humans, we operate and are controlled or regulated through frequency impulses that are commonly called sounds. Yes. In my essence, I am composed of sound waves. And so are you. And so is everything else in this vast creation. We are a compilation of sounds. When they call you a person, that is what they're saying. The prefix per means by way of, and sonari means sound. So all of us as human beings are existing in this creation by way of sound or by way of frequencies. A hum is a sound, and a sound is a tone. And the English word tone is consonantally connected to the Arabic word tain, which means clay. Allah also says that He created us from salsal, which is translated as sounding clay or solidified clay. All of these are references to the nature and function of the human intellect. In its pliable stage, its moldable stage, it is impressionable. And in its solidified stage, it is expressive. If you hit solid clay, it's going to give you back a ring. It's going to express itself. The human intellect must learn to develop humility or humility. You see all of these wonderful words that are connected to the word human? When we read the abbreviated letters at the beginning of certain surahs, such as Al-Baqarah's Alif Lam Mim, we are reading and absorbing frequencies that are designed to humble us because we don't know what these letters mean definitively. Human worth is human value, and value is what calculates the use of a thing. Human worth lies in its ability to produce human thought. And human thought produces human feelings, otherwise known as sensitivities. Now, if someone can control your thoughts, they can effectively control your feelings or your sensitivities. Feelings and emotions are two different things. Feelings are internal. Emotions, however, are external. Feeling produces emotion, which is the emoting or making outwardly manifest your internal feelings. The English letter E means to bring or lead out. To emote is to mute or to bring out that which was muted or made dormant. Feelings, as you're feeling them inside, are dormant in you until verbally or actively expressed. No one knows how you feel until you tell them or show them outwardly. I repeat, when you emote, you are turning internal feelings into external actions or expressions. And this is where most people get into trouble. We get into trouble due to the misuse and manipulation of our emotions. If you allow Satan to control your thoughts, he can then influence your feelings. At that point, he stands a very good chance at controlling your emotions. Keep your mind in the right language environment so that proper thoughts will be continuously produced. Our Prophet Muhammad is reported stated that Allah created nothing more noble or more generous than the creation of the human intellect. This statement represents the intellect in its best construction. As a noun, the intellect is represented in these frontal lobes, which are a part of the upper level neocortex portion of the human brain. As a verb, however, meaning as an action word, intellect means internal election or internal choice making, which is what the frontal lobes assist us in doing, making internal choices or elections. The word intellect in the Arabic language is aql, which comes from the same verb aqala, which gives us the word for rope or tie. The intellect is the mechanism that is designed by Allah to tie down the emotions so that the appropriate choice making can take place. Choices that would hopefully benefit the life and save it from unnecessary mistakes and burdens, which come about when purely emotional decisions are made. The intellect is a mechanism for decision making. In its best construction, it can decide to tie down the emotions so that the reasoning mind can be free. Or in the worst construction, the intellect can tie down the reasoning mind so that the emotions can rule. So each and every one of us need to ask ourselves the question, what kind of intellect am I? If the intellect is used towards the lower ambition of tying down the emotions so that appropriate decision making cannot occur, then the intellect becomes responsible for the deterioration of your life and the life of humans around you. Unfortunately, that is where most people are right now as we speak. We have allowed the intellect to tie down the rational mind and let free flowing the life of blind emotional passions and urges, which in the Quran are given to us under the symbol narun or fire. Nar represents uncontrolled or unbridled passions that are serving to destroy the intelligence intended by God to rule in and over the human life. The word worth is related to the word wealth. The letter R and L, those letters are interchangeable in linguistics. So I repeat, the word wealth and the word worth are essentially the same word. And both are related to the Arabic word warith, which means one who inherits wealth. In a nutshell, human worth is inherited worth. It is our human legacy. It is our human inheritance. It is tied into our ability to register decency in the human life. That decency manifests on the physical level, it manifests on the emotional level, it manifests on the intellectual level, and it manifests on the spiritual level. Decency. And it all begins with the proper intent, which leads to the proper actions. Intent, I repeat, is what will begin shaping the formation of feelings in you. Now, there is a conscious effort on the part of Satan, called the shaitan in the Quran, a conscious effort to get us to stop having human feelings for each other and to begin performing as automatons or robots, to begin performing in certain ways because people told you that's what you must do, that's what you have to do, that's what you need to do, that's what you better do. If the social conspirators can get us to stop feeling for each other as humans through the introduction of racism, sexism, blind nationalism, materialism, and a host of other isms, which are intentionally designed to manipulate our five basic senses, they can then offset and subsequently retard the growth of the intellect along the path of true perception. Now, how do we avoid being manipulated by Satan? We must get our human lives back into our own hands. How do we do that? We do that by questioning our own motives, our own intentions. As Muslims, all of our actions should begin with the phrase Bismillah, with Allah's name, or as I like to say, with Allah's signature, because a name is what is used in a signature. And if Allah has not signed off on a particular thought or action or even feeling, then we should not engage it. And this is what keeps us safe from the manipulations of Satan. This is what will establish us as a people of true human worth. So we begin all things with Allah's signature, and his signature is given to us in the Quran as Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the merciful benefactor. And what is meant by benefactor? A benefactor is one who gives and gives and gives without regard for you having to know who it was exactly who did the giving. That's what a benefactor does. That person might pay for your child's schooling, your child's college and university. That person may give a donation which will allow a business person to establish a business anew. A benefactor does all of those things, but again, doesn't necessarily need for you to know what his or her name is. And that's how Allah operates on the level of Ar-Rahman, the merciful benefactor. The sunlight that we receive on a daily basis is due to Allah's mercy and generosity. The air that we're breathing, all of these things that we are participating in within this creation are as a result of Allah's rahmah, or Allah's mercy. And that mercy, I repeat, is given to us generously. But the average one of us who that mercy is given to does not know to connect it back to the source creator of all things. Some people are atheists and they don't believe in any particular creator as such, but they are still benefiting from Allah's generosity and Allah's mercy. And that's a wonderful thing. But then there is a second part to his signature called Ar-Rahim, which is the merciful redeemer. And the ones who have responded consciously to God's call, and this is true for all faith expressions or all so-called religions, those who respond appropriately to God's call. What is God's call? God's call is the call that takes us away from indecency, that takes us away from depravity, that takes us away from all of those actions that in the core of our souls we know are displeasing to whoever or whatever created us. So there's a special mercy, a double portion of God's mercy that is given to those who consciously recognize that I need to be better than I've been, and that the very reason why I'm able to be good and able to be better and able to be more excellent is because God has favored me. So those are people who receive a special layer of rahmah or mercy called Ar-Rahim. and it serves to redeem us from those things that we were once inundated by as evil, as sin, as corruption, etc. So when we see these two signatures operating anywhere in creation, particularly anywhere within us, we are to understand that those are the thoughts, those are the feelings, and those are the behaviors that Allah Himself has signed off on. And because Allah has signed off on them, then we have an opportunity to go into the bank vault, if you will, of Allah's treasures and be able to spend freely, because everything that we're going to spend and everything that we're going to spend upon is going to also be signed off on by that same signature. So thank you. We're live streaming across YouTube also. So to all of you YouTube listeners, we thank you for being a part of this first experience where we're having the live teleconference call alongside a live YouTube video showing. And we thank Allah for the possibilities that are in this technology, in this modern day and time. We thank Allah for providing us with a level of technology that is able to bring this kind of broadcast in real time to all of the people who are available to listen. So thank you once again. I am Imam Benjamin Bilal, and we're thankful for your patience, for your understanding as we leave you with this dua. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Our guardian evolver, give us the excellence of this life and give us the excellence of the latter life, and save us from the torment of the blazing nar, or fires of our misguided passions. As we greet you in the greetings of peace that obligate each and every one of us to keep the peace. Salamun alaikum. Thank you.